Hello and welcome to Who Are You? It's a Babylon 5 watchcast by a couple of former strangers, now friends, who have been getting to know one another through one of their favorite shows of their childhood, Babylon 5. I'm Laura.
And I'm Xhafer.
And today we're going to go through LOTR,
Lord of the
Legend
Rings?
of the Rangers.
Oh, shit. Okay. For a minute, I was worried I watched the wrong movie.
I didn't notice that till I texted you and I started just abbreviating it. And I was like, oh.
They're like in theaters for the anniversary right now. I really should put on a nerdy outfit and go.
What anniversary is it?
Oh, you're happy you're not knowing. Yeah, I think it's the 20-year.
The Return of the King was definitely my senior year of high school, so that one's 20 years old. Yeah.
Did we graduate the high school the same year?
2004?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I guess there's no reason for it to have come up before now, but
yeah, we knew we were pretty close in age. You would have been on the older side of the class, and I was on the younger side of the class. Yeah.
Yes, I was 18 my whole senior year, so.
Yeah, I was not.
Yeah. Okay.
Neat.
That's fun.
Man, I would rather talk about those movies, though.
Right. They're much better.
Not to spoil how I feel about this movie.
Oh, I mean, we'll just get into it. I'm going to be perfectly transparent. I watched this movie 3 weeks ago and did my notes watch before you left for your vacation. And
yeah, me too,
I have
actually.
not rewatched it or looked at my notes because they're wholly depressing because this is bad.
Yeah, I couldn't stomach another rewatch. I considered it briefly and I was like, nah.
You know how when you've got something to do that you really don't want to do, you'll find suddenly more important things to do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've never been that procrastinator. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, like today I did all the laundry instead of rewatching this movie. Mm-hmm. I laid in a hammock and finished books so that we could do book club instead of talking about and rewatching this movie. I decided to start sharpening knives 30 minutes ago because my kitchen knives need a good sharpen and it's been a while.
Yeah, sure.
And that needed to happen before instead of sitting down and rereading my notes like a professional. So it's gonna be a shit show. I know that now.
This is gonna be super fun with me going back over these notes I wrote 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And just looking at it, one of the first sentences I have is, it certainly feels like none of these actors have watched Babylon 5. I want to propose an idea to you, listener. If you have not watched this movie and you're going to watch this movie, consider a drinking game. And every time someone says, "We live for the one, we die for the one," take a drink.
But make sure it's a sip drink. Otherwise, you're going to have a bad time. Yes. Especially this intro. They front load it. I did the math here, Laura. Before we even get into it, I counted and I did the math.
Amazing.
Speaking of doing the math, this first scene throws me for a loop immediately. So we open on some Rangers on a very Star Trek looking bridge. Just going to throw that out there.
There's a lot of things that don't quite look Babylon 5 in this, yes?
Yeah. This doesn't really feel human or Minbari to me. And they are fighting some classic triangle ship raiders. Now, throughout Babylon 5, the raiders always have these triangle ships. And this kind of makes sense when they're at Babylon 5 because they're hypothetically the same group of raiders.
Okay, so we just see the same group coming in and out,
doing stuff,
doing their guerrilla
splinter
stuff.
Groups. They would have access to the same sets of ships. So seeing them all in these same triangle fighters there makes sense because they're geographically located near the station.
Okay, I'll buy that.
We are nowhere near the station. And there are a ton of these triangle ships. And I need to know the economics of this situation. Because it's like one thing, like when all of the Narn ships look the same. Like they're from the same design group, the same construction yards. That makes sense to me. Raiders, however, the thing that makes them raiders is that they aren't part of a government, right? They aren't part of a collective body. So why on earth do all raiders have the same triangle ship?
Maybe triangles are just the most economical.
Like, is this just a ship that anyone can buy? You can just go and buy
Yeah,
triangle
yeah.
ships. There's just Kia dealerships everywhere, and this is just your space RV4 or whatever that like is all over the road.
I'm going to hypothesize that it's a little more like IKEA and you have to put your triangle together.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, even if that's the case,
Uh-huh.
if there was a car that was explicitly collaborated to a ton of crime, right? Would you buy that car?
Well, it's like, what is the current hot thing for stealing is it the carburetors that people are
Carburetors, catalytic
stealing?
converters are
That's it.
always a big one because there's
It's
platinum
not
in them.
carburetor, it's the catalytic converter.
Carburetor
Yes.
would take some work to get and not be an
Yes.
expensive part, but the catalytic converter,
Yeah.
yeah.
I feel like there's always a car that it's like, oh, these are being targeted for the catalytic converter right now because it's easy for them to like get under and get out or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You saw off a little bit before the muffler.
Yeah. Yeah.
Worry about the other stuff later.
Yeah. Maybe these are the ships that are really easy to hotwire. And that's why they're all triangle ships because we keep hotwiring these ships and taking them away.
I mean, why does every disparate raider group have the same ship? It's just like there has to be some kind of explanation, I would think. I know that there isn't, but it's just I don't know why this time it bothered me more than any other time. Like I chose the right movie to watch to get upset about nitpicky bullshit. And that's just the mood when I took these notes.
Yeah.
But that's where we're at.
I'm headcanoning it that these are the easiest ships to hotwire, so all the criminals take them. Yeah.
Yeah. It's got to be something.
We've got a new crystal town on Minbar when we make it there.
What is going on? There's no crystals anywhere.
Minbar does not look like Minbar at all, does it?
No. Minbar looks like it's fucking from the Matrix movies, like those like the weird like machine towers and stuff.
It's a lot browner than it should be. It should be very purple, right?
Mine was very blue, but this was another one of all of these movies that I got that I've been watching these the movies I've been watching the version of the movies that are all digital rips that I've had on hard drives for like 15 years something. I don't know where these came from. They're just digital copies that I've had for a very long time, since long before I lost my physical media collection in college. And these are all some weird HD remasters that like stuff is just wrong visually in them sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Minbar is wrong no matter what you're watching, though. Like, Minbar is not right. And I wondered if this was a consequence of going to the Sci-Fi channel. Like, maybe we didn't have the right
digital
CGI models or something.
Yeah.
Like, or we didn't have the rights to them. Like,
I
WB
can't
wouldn't let it
imagine
go.
that'd be weird.
I don't
having
know.
the rights to do Babylon 5 stuff, but not having like the rights to show a White Star or something. That's weird.
It's weird, but it's so different that I wondered if there was some like stupid bullshitty bureaucracy reason that we didn't do it like the way we did it before.
Yeah. Did yours have a theme song?
It did. I wrote decent theme music, less enjoyable CGI opener.
Yeah. I called out Sarah space punching stuff from the intro as what the hell is going on here? This looks miserable.
Oh,
Man.
You'll see eventually, right?
Oh, we're going to see so much of it. Yeah. So we're on Minbar. We've got Grey Council member Sidel reviewing footage of an unknown alien with Jakar for some reason.
I know. I wrote, for some reason, Jakar.
They try to be all like, well, these are like rim aliens, and he was just out that way, so he's like the expert, right?
Yeah. He and Leader are clearly back now. Yeah.
Yeah. The council has gathered as Dulon goes to David, first officer from our previous scene here, notifying him that a decision has been made about what they're going to do with him because he was ready to live for the one, but he was not ready to die for the one. And that's a big no-no.
I don't buy into this premise. This is the big problem
This
with
is
it.
so dumb. This is so dumb. It's just like you had to go. Like they didn't have weapons. Like they had 10% engines. But it's so dumb. It's the dumbest premise.
You can't convince me that Ranger leadership views Ranger lives as expendable in this way.
Yeah.
Like this expendable. Like, yeah, you should have died instead of living to fight another day and reporting back with your intelligence. Like, I don't know. I did not buy this at all. And that's a problem if in the first 5-10 minutes of your little movie I can't get on board with it. Like, not good for the rest of the movie.
David gets in a fight to establish that he's not a coward. Yeah.
Okay.
And then we see the Valen, the new Ranger ship in production. And it is the ugliest fucking ship in all of Babylon 5.
It's really good that David does call this out as like an ugly ass ship, because if this movie just tried to pretend that everything was fine here, I would have been even angrier.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is on Minbar. This is a Ranger ship. When we had the White Stars,
Yeah.
we're going to do that?
Right?
I don't get it.
So we see this new ship, and then we have David speaking of wanting to join up with the Rangers for years. And between this and Jakar being here, I had to like do a little bit of research on where the fuck this is in the timeline.
Okay, tell me.
So we are at 2265. So this is 3 years after season 5.
Oh, wow. They really didn't stay out very long then, did they?
No, this is 2 years after the road home.
Okay.
So Jakar on the edge of the universe is back.
Uh-huh.
Call to Arms, which is the thing we're watching next, is 2266. Crusade is 2267.
Okay.
The Lost Tales is 2271. Sheridan time travels to 2278 for the framing story of In the Beginning.
Oh, yes. Okay.
So that's in 13 years is all that happens. Sleeping in Light is 2281.
Okay. So, yeah.
That's all the pieces. So he's been really wanting to join up for a couple of years. Okay, the Alliance has been around for a couple of years. Mm-hmm. Sure. The Rangers were around before that, but they weren't. You had to know somebody. Someone had to vouch you in.
It was covert, yes.
Yeah. So the story makes sense. I don't know why they're bothering with this Valen class ship when they could be just fucking around in White Stars, which are clearly better in every regard.
Agreed, yes.
And the White Star production is slowed because the war is over and they were building them for a while because the shadows in the background. It's like, well, you've had time.
Yeah. Yeah. This really makes me wonder if there was some sort of dispute about using certain CGI models or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, we don't see any White Stars, and we should have that like linking us to the previous series.
They are the iconic Ranger ship for the Legend of the Rangers. It's like having a show called The Legend of the Federation and there's not a Enterprise. Or at the very least a classic Federation whole saucer to nacelles.
Yes, there needs to be a pizza cutter ship of some kind.
Any of the pizza cutters, the oblong ones, the weird ones, whatever, doesn't matter. We need a pizza cutter ship. In addition to the Valen, we see a little jalopy, the Leandra, the cursed ship. Ooh, so much curse. Ooh, bad times.
Yeah, yeah. So spooky. Of course, because we see this, we know that this is going to be David's ship. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. We are 13 minutes into this episode, and I stopped here because they said we live for the one, we die for the one again. And I went back and I counted, and we are at 5 times they've said this phrase so far.
I wish we had a
And now
timestamp. How many minutes?
I keep a running counter of how many we have now.
Excellent. That's perfect. Yeah.
Honestly, like my feeling at this point is like if you were to feed ChatGPT all of the Babylon 5 that had been written before this and asked it to make a movie about Rangers, this is kind of, and you couldn't include Marcus. This is what it feels like.
Oh, okay.
Like,
Yeah, that's
you
a
just
good
like
point.
eliminate Marcus completely. It's just like, all right, that would probably be way worse than what this is, to be fair to JMS. But it's just like they really wanted to get the we live for the one, we die for the one really just hammered in there. Because it just comes up way too much. This whole fucking movie, it comes up way too much.
I wish we knew like how many live for the one, die for the one. Not just how many there were, but like per minute. You know what I mean? Like,
I do the math.
Oh, good.
Don't you worry. We'll get there at the end.
Awesome. I knew I could count on you. So Dulon testifies that David was saving the lives of others, and all of their friends are going to leave the Rangers if he is expelled. Like, we're staying behind our captain, right?
Yeah.
He's not a captain, but you know what I mean. Jakar busts in to speech the hell out of being a nosy bitch.
Okay,
Love it.
so before we get to that.
Oh, whoops. Okay.
No, well, it's in the same scene. But David's, he's hanging out in the Grey Council. Why is he being held responsible by the Grey Council? He is part of the impartial Interstellar Alliance Rangers, which are headed by Delenn, who is notably kicked off the Grey Council. What the fuck is the Grey Council doing here? This makes no sense in the established lore of the show.
You're right. It really doesn't, because like that's the Grey Council is the Minbari government. Why is the Minbari government overseeing this like group that's supposed to be
not
merging
of any government explicitly?
Yeah, it's a merging of many
not
governments.
Of any government.
Yes,
right. Why are they punishing him?
WTF?
Like, maybe during the Shadow War. I could see this falling to the Grey Council.
Yeah, no, I totally could.
Yeah. But it doesn't make any sense. Dulon shows up, speaks on David's behalf. The Grey Council don't care. And then, for some reason, Jakar runs in and just starts flipping hoods. Live for the one, count as 6. Jakar's just like, no living for the one, only dying for the one.
Yeah.
Only dying for the one is allowed.
His argument is like, dying for no reason is without honor. And that's what you're saying he should have done. Like, he should have died for no reason. Like,
yeah.
Living for the one is more important than dying for the one sometimes. Yes.
Jakar's just like, look, I got Sheridan on speed dial and hits it so fast it already happened. Once again, why Sheridan and not Delenn, the actual leader of the Rangers? The Grey Council discusses Jakar's bullshit, and David is not only off the hook, but promoted.
Yeah. Well, promoted to the Leandra, which do you think they're trying to get him killed basically by giving him the haunted ghost chip? They're just like, eh.
I don't think they're doing him any favors with that promotion.
Sure. This is where I wrote Jakar is the best part of this movie.
Oh, for sure. He complains about trying to find one true thing in this economy. Man. Scene.
Yeah. Some things get truer with time.
But yeah, he gets assigned the cursed Leandra, and over on the Leandra, David and Delfonsi here scope out the damage as Delon resorts to some percussive engineering to get the ship running.
Yeah, classic. At this point, I wondered, and I was kind of sad. I was like, I feel like a place they might have been going with Dulon's character was, they mentioned that he is like a mild telepath or something.
Mm-hmm.
I wondered if this could have been hinting at some storylines around like Minbari telepaths and like their rights and such. And I was like, man, I wish we knew more about that. I think we've said that a few times, discussing like telepaths and then telepaths and other races.
I mean, the thing that makes Babylon 5 so good is the world building.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's so good, all of those gaps are so apparent.
Yeah.
And also because it's so good when it's so bad like it is in this movie. Man, listener, we recorded book club for next week's episode earlier today. Spoiler, I'm a cranky baby on that one too.
Yeah, if you can't handle a little cranky,
Yeah.
you're going to need to skip a couple eps.
It's probably going to be like this through most of Crusade.
Yeah, I'm interested. I'm here. So David has chosen a Narn and a Drazi, which
Yep.
we knew that they were allowed to be in the Rangers. So glad we're actually seeing some of that. Too bad there's no Pakmara. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. These are the first recruits to make it through Ranger training
Yeah.
and then get assigned to a ship. They've just been passed over a ton, apparently.
Mm-hmm. No racism at all, I'm sure.
Mm-mm.
So Dulon is puzzled that he's chosen the Narn and the Drazi, and David is puzzled that Chenier, the guy who's been giving him shit, basically, about being a big coward, wants him to come along for an escort job.
Yeah, I mean, it's just Kirk picking out his red shirts, right? We have the naming ceremony after this, which is how they launch the Ranger ships.
Yeah.
Everyone goes through and introduces themselves for the benefit of the audience.
Mm-hmm. Tell me
And
your
speaks their
name.
one
Tell me
truth.
something about yourself.
Yeah. It's a team building exercise. No trust falls. Do you have these? Like I recently started a new job, so I've had to do a handful of these. I always default to 2 truths and a lie because I think that's a very fun way to get to know people at work.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a little bit of stress if you're not good at improv, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't had a team building exercise in a long time, but we're a very small outfit. So
Yeah.
this is where I started noticing that we live for the one, we die for the one a lot.
Count at 7. Yep.
Okay. I was like, there must be another one because I wrote my joke here.
Yep. The Valen takes off. The Leandra just barely makes it to follow suit. The hyperspace is white now instead of orange.
Again, odd.
And the aliens from the earlier recording appear to be following them in hyperspace, which is also something we've been told repeatedly is kind of impossible. And then we learn that this meeting that is the plot device right now to take a bunch of Alliance leaders is to an archaeological dig because mystery.
This is the second movie with a significant archaeological dig.
Mm-hmm.
Would you count Third Space? I don't think there was actually a dig, but there was like...
They find the thing in space, yeah.
Yeah, there was like archaeology involved in a way, yes.
Yeah, now that we talk about it, that seems to be a bit of a trend here.
Yeah. So Babylon 5's cold opens involve murder and assassination, and the movies are archaeology. That's the theme I'm getting.
Yeah, they pop out of hyperspace, also white, not blue, and immediately get attacked.
And apparently, the Leandra's weapons are all martial arts based.
So, man, we find out this laser punching, and I really wish I hadn't learned anything more about this laser punching. Fucking, Sarah jumps down, right? Like, this is the worst weapon system in history from a purely utilitarian standpoint. So, like, what the fuck kind of weapon system requires this bullshit VR? Like, it's one, not on the bridge, right?
Mm-hmm.
She has to leave the bridge to fire weapons.
Yeah, she has to jump in her tube, which, I mean, we've seen that in
Yep.
spaceships before, right? Where, like, Chewie has to go running to the little thing in the Falcon. It's not Chewie.
To the
Luke.
physical guns.
Yeah, yeah. But we're taking a tube to a room where we're like
Yep.
0G, but also
Yep.
doing martial arts.
Yeah, she hops down the McDonald's play place slide. What ableist bullshit is this, by the way? Like, you need someone who's proficient in martial arts to fire weapons as slow as they can punch, which hopefully is as quick as the weapons can fire, and there's no changes there. If the weapons can fire faster than someone can punch, this is a terrible idea.
This is supposed to look really cool, but for all of your reasons and then also 90s CGI reasons, it does not.
Yeah. I struggled to think of anything in sci-fi I had seen that could come close to this.
Mm-hmm.
As like a weapon system that requires VR and actual kind of martial arts to use. And the only thing I could even get close to was the Zero system from Gundam Wing.
Okay.
And at least that gives you fun drugs to make you operate at the speed of the weapons and computer.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Very addictive, problem-forming drugs. But that's kind of the point. It's supposed to be terrible.
I was like trying to picture like if we tried to do this today, what would this look like?
Mm-hmm.
And the only franchise that like came to my mind is like maybe with the style and the effects in that franchise, maybe we could pull this off, was The Expanse. I haven't actually seen The Expanse beyond like some promos and stuff. But having read the books, I was like, I could kind of picture something like this coming up in that show and universe. But boy, it doesn't look good here.
No, this is rough. So they fire some lasers. Two of the attacking aliens peace out, leaving one behind. The colony is completely destroyed. The Valen is crippled. And the Leandra has minimal engines and barely any weapons. We live for the one count is at 8 as the Valen rams the last remaining alien ship.
After launching the diplomats into escape pods, of course.
Yeah, they get all the diplomats off.
And so the Leandra is ordered to pick up the escape pods while Tanir goes out in his die for the one glory.
Yep. They get brought into a cargo bay that is like too big to be on this ship.
Right. We've been told this ship is extremely small.
I thought this ship was like 2.5 levels and like very tight from all the stuff we've seen besides this.
Uh-huh.
And then there's just this massive fucking cargo bay with everyone in it.
Yeah, full of jerk-ass diplomats except for Jakar. He's like, fine.
They're all whiny and entitled. Dulon got fucked up during the attack. He tells us the ship is haunted, and the alien ships return to survey the wreckage of the Valen. Then we get, like, actual ghosts.
Yeah, like, I called this Jacob Marley's ghost, just tormenting Dulon.
Andreas just is like, he knows nobody is ever going to see this thing. And it shows in his acting. He is just chewing the fucking scenery.
Uh-huh.
My notes is he is a slightly snappier Tommy from the Car Talk with Martok memes that our friends over at Dominion Media and Television make. Like, he's basically playing that version of the character.
Yeah. He's like, let's just sass this bitch up since I'm the best thing about this. Yeah. He knows.
He knows. There's no way he can't know. Jakar goes to see the captain and tells what he knows of the ancient super shadows, the real bad guys all along.
I wrote that Turk is the Drazi, has a fun encounter with the Drazi diplomat. I wish I could remember the details of it, but I wrote, this is actually pretty fun.
Yeah, they have to show us this hollow suit so they can use it later. The Super Shadows have almost caught up to our ship. They hide in the tail of a comet, which is an excuse for more VR flippies that get knocked around here. They have to leave the comet, and they find out that they've escaped when they leave the tail of the comet. First Officer Dulon, however, is wandering the ship while Christoph Franke plays us a club banger from my industrial goth club days.
I
As he
miss
sees
this.
a bunch of dead Rangers. Yeah, so this is like the background music when all the dead Rangers are there.
Okay.
It's like straight up like it's some Combi Christ. Like, I'm here for it.
Okay. Totally missed that part. The David and the doctor person, they don't call her a doctor. They call her a healer or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
They discuss Minbari telepathy a little bit.
Ambiguous.
But Malcolm, this is one of them. I don't have all the names. I'm like, who was that? I don't know.
Oh, yeah, if you didn't write it down when they introduced, good fucking luck.
Yeah. Well, I wrote it down, but I'm like,
Wikipedia was my friend.
who is this? Like, I didn't really clock who they were. He's got tactics stuff going on. Dulon is found, but hallucinating, and declares the dead people are in his brain. Which, given book club, it's like, oh no, that could be a real thing. They could be really in there.
Yeah. Yeah, Dulon's acid trip goes from bad to worse as they find him, and he's got like a flamethrower. Like, I don't know what's going on here. Anyways, he sees there is a hidden log entry,
Yeah, so the old crew left a hidden log, a secret log.
something that wouldn't have gotten wiped. Luckily, the password isn't "we live for the one, we die for the one."
Oh, damn.
They find the log, and they basically promise to become ghosts until the mystery is solved in it.
Okay. So there was some kind of mole on board the Leandra that killed the original crew.
Yeah.
And they're all hot and bothered because there's another mole on the Leandra now.
Somehow. His dying words are, "we live for the one, we die for the one," which brings the count to 9.
Boom.
And we made it almost 20 minutes without a reference to "we live for the one, we die for the one."
Okay.
It's the longest gap in the episode in the movie. David buys in now. There has to be a traitor on board.
Poor Turk. I really do think it's a shame we didn't get more Turk.
More Turk, please.
Turk. Drazi.
He runs into this shady diplomat, which we've never seen this alien before either,
Yep.
and gets blasted.
Yeah, Ambassador Kafka here is messing around and shoots him. And I'm just like, not Turk.
Yeah.
We love Turk.
We love Turk.
We love Turk. And we love Lise. And no one else.
So Ambassador Kafka plugged something in and is signaling the enemy. David chases him down and gets in this fight sequence.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a fight. They managed to catch him before he gets into escape pod. When they are fighting, I don't know if you noticed, the set, like the walls, when they like push each other into the walls bend.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Oh, it's like the balcony that like the stone balcony that shook on the Drowsy homeworld.
Yeah.
Oops.
And I actually have a timestamp here. I don't know if you've got it open. And if you don't, because why would you want to do that to yourself?
Yeah, I don't have it.
But at 1 hour, 4 minutes, and 36 seconds, Sarah runs into this fight, stumbling, and it is straight out of Monty Python Ministry of Silly Walks. Like, it cannot be on accident.
Well, she's just been like kick flipping her way through weapons. She's got to get those space legs back. Yeah. Yeah. I wrote in this next scene that I'm going to ship Nafeel and David together after their innuendo, and I wish I could remember now what that was. I guess she had some classic Narn innuendo that she threw at David, so that's...
The famously horny Narn.
Yeah, exactly. She
Is
would break
it the
this
first
man.
episode we see a Narn? They have to be horny. It's the rules.
Yeah.
The aliens are zooming over to fuck them up. They fire weapons, and
Sarah DDRs her way to clearing all the spiky things on her screen.
yeah, the D12 mines are flying around. What a fucking miserable weapon system.
I mean, if we're depending
It's
on me,
so
I
bad.
couldn't DDR to save my life, so...
Yeah, she goes full D&D monk flurry of blows with enough cuts to make Kevin Dunn proud. Like, it is just a terrible piece of cinema, if we can even use that word.
Okay. So they send this signal device that the ambassador had out in a pod, which gets sucked up by the enemy. They detonate a bomb inside the pod, inside the ship.
Yep.
We've taken care
They
of
blow up
one.
the snowflake, but they're completely defenseless in turn.
Yeah.
We get an interrogation scene on par with The Room here.
I think that David has taken the Garibaldi intimidation course from the homeschool security sessions.
Yeah. The best part about this is David gives us another "we live for the one, we die for the one," bringing the count to 10. This is also the last time it's said in the episode, which brings one every 9 minutes is the average.
Wow. Nice.
Yep. We find out Elektra is in charge of the super shadows because they're called the Hand.
Yeah.
And they've found a way back to our universe, just like in Third Space.
I wrote down a couple times, like, wait, wasn't this Third Space? Yeah,
they
weird.
get to the jump gate only to find the last snowflake waiting for them. The snowflake calls, and the captain is a ring wraith.
Oh, yeah.
Another reason why I wished we were watching Lord of the Rings.
I wrote, this guy looks like a Power Rangers villain.
Yeah. Well, the Witch King of Angmar is here to negotiate. Maybe everyone can live, y'all. Just turn over the prisoner, and you can all live, or everyone will die. DJ and David discuss the situation. David comes up with a solution. They send the pod out, and they communicate with the pod, and totally the ambassador, 100% it's totally the ambassador guy's response. They take the pod on board, and when it opens, it pulls the pid on a bunch of grenades, causing it to explode, and the whole ship? Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Oops, all bombs inside this pod. And then one ambassador dude who's been like duct taped up.
Yeah, he's got boom written over his mouth, which I thought was a nice touch. At least this time, he didn't reveal his big plan before he did it, because every other time this captain's done anything, he has to tell everyone exactly what he's about to do. And just, this time is like the big secret.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
this
I guess
time,
he's an actual starship captain now, because that's the litmus test.
yeah. These aliens did not know not to go up against a Sicilian when death is on the line. Okay, so David meets with the council. Jakar gives a little praise speech.
Yep. He just invites himself to the Great Council meetings these days.
I mean, as he should. He's a very distinguished Narn representative, so he
Yeah.
belongs at the meetings.
Yeah, he just like made good with an intern. He got the calendar invite. He didn't send a response. The organizer doesn't know he sees it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, the Leandra gets repaired. Dulon is going to be okay. And the ship is maybe still haunted?
Question mark?
Yep. They have their next mission, which is escorting Jakar to Babylon 5.
He states that Lita is gone now. Is Lita gone, like, just back fighting her telepath war at this point? Or has she gone up in
I
a blaze?
think that is going on right now,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yep. They don't have time to hang around Babylon 5, but they promise the next time they visit, they'll make a point of stopping in.
Yeah, we didn't go aboard Babylon 5 because the set is probably gone, right? But we do see that good old CGI model.
Yep.
And this is the blurriest Babylon 5 I've ever seen too, I think.
Yeah. Legally distinct Babylon 4.
Oh, I wrote Jakar says the thing, but I don't know what the thing was.
No one there is exactly what he seems.
Oh, well.
Oh, he says a bunch of stuff from the show.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Yeah. I also didn't write it down.
Yeah. It was important
Fuck
enough
it.
for me to note, but not apparently to remember exactly what it was.
Well, we did it. We talked about Legend of the Rangers for 45 minutes.
Yeah. Do we want to rate this one? Do
Could
we
it
rate
possibly
movies?
be? Do we do rate movies? Sure, we rate whatever we fucking want, Laura. That's
Yeah,
our podcast. Have we ever done a 0?
I don't think we've ever done a 0. Can we give it? Okay, I'll give it a half a Babylon. I think we might have given a half a Babylon before.
Okay, half of Babylon sounds fair. I will follow you in half of a Babylon. But to be clear, this is not like two halves make one Babylon.
No.
This is 2/4 of a Babylon, if anything, adding to a half.
Yes, indeed. This movie felt like a formula, of a certain type of show that was happening in the 80s and 90s. Our Captain David feels like a real Stringfellow Hawk. If you want to pop over to Cool Girls Don't Listen to Explosions whenever that launches, you'll find out who Stringfellow Hawk is.
Yeah.
Just
He plays the cello.
yeah. Just a real white guy with a haircut and like broody sense of something with something to prove. And I'm just like, oh, I'm so tired of you.
Yeah.
I just met you and I'm already exhausted. It's so strange that this came as trying to launch another series. Do you think JMS was really trying? Like, I don't know. I hate to speculate like that, but
I did no research. So people in the Discord, if this is true or not, feel free to tell me. But this feels like the kind of thing that gets made to keep the rights, much more so than the thing that gets made to make something good.
okay.
This is like that one pilot episode of Wheel of Time that stars, God, who is it? The Mummy, Billy Zane, right? Is that his name?
Wheel of Time?
Yeah.
Tell me more about this.
Okay, there is a aired once Wheel of Time pilot
I had no
that
idea.
was on, and it is like fucking miserable. It was done solely to retain the rights. It's like 20 minutes, and they only did it. It aired at 1:30 in the morning on FX.
So they were
keep the
really
rights.
trying. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It aired exactly once.
Also,
Yeah.
I forgot to make fun of David Martell is our hero, and then our white lady hero is Sarah Cantrell. I was like, oh, were we?
Lazy as fuck naming.
Yeah. And I don't know, Dulon is like almost Delenn. I don't know. I was just
Almost.
like,
It's so close. And then there's Sindel and Firel, also two different Minbari running around.
yeah. I just wish I could feel positively about this movie because I love Babylon 5 and I love this universe, but there were so many weird things that I wondered, like, what's going on?
It's just trash. It's just trash.
Yeah.
It is unworthy of inclusion in the pantheon. I'll fucking say it. Like, it does not belong with the rest of everything. This is the worst. It's fucking terrible.
I'm looking at the wiki and it says that this movie aired opposite the NFL playoffs and subsequent poor ratings led it to not being picked up. And I'm like,
well, you know why it aired against the playoffs? if you had to pick a day in 2001 to be the worst time to put something in the air, what day would you pick?
Okay,
What
2001,
on
you
the ether?
say?
2001, very specifically. In the fall. I'll give you a little hintsy. In
Sure.
fact, we'll narrow it down to September. If you had to air something in September of 2001, you had knowledge of the future, and you wanted something to do poorly, what day would you air it?
Probably September 12th.
Yeah. This is supposed to air on September 11th.
Oh, it was. Oh, whoops.
Yeah. It got pushed back.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but
So-
I mean, I'm not sure the NFL playoffs is why it had bad ratings, guys. Like,
They knew it was bad. I don't know how anyone could watch this and think it was good or cool.
yeah.
Even back then, it's all like, oh, the flippy VR stuff. Just like, no, please stop.
I feel like I had seen every Babylon 5 movie and I did not remember any of this one. Like, none of it. Just right out of the old noggin. And I think there was a
Yeah.
defensive reason for that.
So this is like 2 years from Sci-Fi putting together Battlestar Galactica, right?
Oh, they put together
Which looks
Battlestar? Okay.
which looks fantastic compared to this. Like I think Warehouse 13 might have been airing at this point, which not great, but holds up pretty well CGI wise when they do stuff.
Sure.
This is just like, it's bad even for them and the time period.
Yeah.
But you know, it's not bad for the time period and the content.
What's that?
And that's the work of Jeremy Siegel, who composed our lovely theme music. I'm just ending this. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I saw a segue and I took it.
Yeah, let's just put it down.
Let's just put this one down. We don't. Next week, book club, Psychor book 3. We talk about the final fate of Bester, which has some twists in it. Ooh.
You could say that. You could call it twists.
I mean, without listening to the entire discussion, I'm going to list 3 jobs. Bester ends up with one of them. You pick which one it is. We'll say a police detective. We will say a literary critic. And we will say a baker. One of those 3. One of those 3 is a thing that happens in that book. Can you guess which one? Good luck. But anyways, Jeremy's work is excellent for its time period, or any time period. But I only get to choose to exist in one. And in that time period, I appreciate the music of Jeremy Siegel, and I appreciate him letting us use it as our theme music. So thanks, Jeremy, for everything that you do to help us here at Who Are You? You can find more of Jeremy's work at jeremysiegel42.bandcamp.com and on your favorite streaming services as Nuclear Jaguar.
And thank you to Angry Duck Time Machine on Instagram for our podcast artwork, which is also fantastic for this time period. We'll need a new one for a different time period.
Aaron, thanks for editing the podcast. Curious what the runtime on this one's going to be.
You're always curious about the runtime. And thank you, listener, for watching Legend of the Rangers with us. I'm sorry that you had to do that. I apologize.
See you next week, Internet.
Bye.
We live for the one. We die for the one.